my name is Andi Putt. I am better known as Mrs Speechie P, and I am a speech pathologist. I specialize in autism assessment and intervention, and I'm excited to be here today talking to you about making those referrals for autism and just having those really tough conversations. I just want to start with, they will always be tough. Nothing that I'm going to tell you is going to make you think that it's the easiest thing. Because even for me, I've done it a lot, and it is really a difficult conversation. You don't know what the parent is thinking, and we're the first people who are bringing up the word autism to parents. And so it really is a big deal. And I will say it is easier for me to say a child is diagnosed with autism than to make that initial referral. Okay, so once you know you need to make the referral, I would make a plan for what you want to say. And be sure that you are making this plan in language that is easily understood by parents. So try not to use a lot of technical jargon. And also, I would recommend not starting this conversation unless you have spent at least 30 or 45 minutes with a child. The only exception to that is if you had already done a parent interview, or if they had filled out a questionnaire that kind of made you think autism would be necessary, or if it is an option for you. I know in some school districts you can have somebody on an autism evaluation team in there very quickly. So those would be the only two times when I would say it's okay to say it earlier. Okay, now what everybody's here for. How do I do it? What do I say? And I don't think that there is only one magical way to say this, but I do have a way that I tend to prefer to do it, and it just kind of runs a little bit more smoothly. The first thing that I do is I will ask a parent, hey, I really just wanted to hear your thoughts about your child. What do you see as their strengths? And then I listen, and I will agree. Oh, yes, I see that in speech. Okay. And now what are your major concerns? What do you view as their weaknesses? And I'm going to listen to that. And then I'm going to start saying my things. So my concerns. And the way that I do this is I'll say, I noticed that, and I'll say something. And then, have you noticed that at home? Tell me what you're seeing at home. Okay, and most of the time they will say, yes, I see that at home. Sometimes they'll be like, nope, never see it. And I'll have kids be doing it right in front of the parent, and they're like, nope, that doesn't happen. And it's, well, but right now. And so sometimes we just have to be flexible. Okay, and then move on to the next thing, or, well, I did notice it. I think that's something that we should monitor. And then the things that you're going to bring up, I want you to bring up core characteristics, okay? So the things not to bring up are things like meltdowns or toe walking or some of those things that could mean a lot of things. I want core characteristics. So echolalia, scripting, difficulty with conversations, trouble with change in routine, things like that are going to go a lot further than the things that could be anything. Okay, and we can even use strengths in this. So I noticed it is so amazing how quickly they learned their alphabet and their numbers, or maybe they know all of the dinosaur names. That is really cool. But it's got me concerned that they have all of those skills, but then they struggle asking for milk or for their favorite toy in speech. They're not really generalizing that language skills that they have to do all of that labeling to be able to request things that they want. And usually parents will be like, oh, that is kind of strange. Why aren't they doing that if they can do all of these great things? Okay, and then once I've covered all of those things, I'm ready to say autism. And so I'll say, often when we see a lot of these differences, it would lead me to consider the possibility of an autism spectrum disorder. And I really think it would be a good idea to get an evaluation that really formally looks at autism by somebody who specializes in that type of evaluation. and don't sugarcoat it, okay? So we're gonna say the word autism. We're not going to make it try to sound a lot better than what it is, because that really doesn't do anything to help the family. You know, it might make you feel more comfortable having this conversation, but that's not gonna help the family in the long run. So we are going to say autism. We are going to say autism evaluation. We're going to use those words, and I think that will really help the parent. All right, and then we are going to give that parent some time to process. So yes, that means the awkward silence, okay? So I would wait. Usually they're going to say something, but if not, wait a good 30 seconds. But we want them to be able to process this information. We want them to be able to respond however that may be. It could be crying, it could be arguing with you, it could be anger, it could be okay, what do we do next? You know, and ideally that's easier for us when we have the okay, what's next parent. But we need to just be ready for all of the things because it's a big deal. So we're going to give them that time. And then once they have had that time to reflect, process, it could be 30 seconds. You might need to call them back another day. And then once they've had that time to compose their thoughts, to process everything, you know, go ahead and ask them, say, well, what do you know about autism? You know, do you have any questions? And that kind of can open that conversation, and you can say there's lots of strengths and take away some of those myths that they've heard. You know, kids with autism, they can speak, they can be smart, they can be all the things. But we do know that they have some difficulties in some areas, and the sooner we know, we can address it and we can help them, and we can help them be successful and happy, and all the things that everybody else can be. I always like to say, do you want me to review the reasons why I'm recommending the assessment again? Now that they know why I was saying those things, do you want me to say that again? Or if we're in person, do you want me to write them down really fast just so that you can take that? And then I let them know that I'm available. If you have any questions, I'm here. You know, just ask me and I will be happy to answer any questions that come up as best as I can. And I warn them about Google. So I'll say, I know you're going to want to go get on Google right away and learn everything that you can about autism. And I think that's great. But I do want to warn you that not everything on the internet is accurate. And so it's very overgeneralized. It's very stereotypical information about autism. And a lot of that just isn't really a good reflection of the spectrum that autism is. And sometimes parents aren't ready. So no, we're not going to do that. You know, and that's their choice. That is their choice. It is their child. They get to pick these things. And so we need to accept that. Okay, and then if they weren't ready, that does not mean we are staying silent about this forever. Okay, so we think sometimes, oh, they know what I think, so I'm not going to bring it up again. But a lot of times parents will think, oh, well, they haven't said anything else, so they must not have any concerns anymore. They must not think an evaluation is appropriate. And so I usually do bring it up after, if it's the first time, I'll bring it up again after 3 months. And then after that, every 6 months. And I write it in my recommendations, you know, just so that they're hearing it and getting more comfortable with it. And a lot of times they don't like it, but that's our job. I mean, that's our job. That's what we do. And, you know, as long as they know that our heart's in the right place and that we love their child, we are going to be sure to say, I love your child. I enjoy working with your child. He's so great. He's so smart, you know, whatever. I think that makes all the difference. Okay, and that wraps it up. I just want to say you will get better at it. You'll get more comfortable with it. It's not going to ever be easy and just something that you're going to want to do on the fly without thinking ahead. But you will feel more comfortable, I promise. It just takes some time and some practice. But anyways, I am Mrs Speechie P. You can follow me. I talk about early intervention and all things autism. And I'm so excited to be here today. So I hope this helps, and good luck.